What do you like so much about Gary Oldman?
Oh, he's a chameleon. I mean, he's a wonderful actor. He's one of those guys, my generation of actors, you know, he's the guy we worship. We looked at him, we watched him in Prick Up Your Ears, we watched him in Sid Vicious, and watched him in Alan Clark's work, you know, The Firm, and watched him just, even in very commercial things like Dracula. He was always both believable and emotional. Yeah. And he had those things, which is a European thing. You know, we have my chameleon skills. You know, it's not necessarily part of acting. Some people never change their walk or their voice, but Gary has that chameleon thing that he can, you know, in The Contender, you know, his shell, whatever, you know, he was amazing. You know, and so, you know, and the mask work in Hannibal and stuff. And he, you know, he has that thing that I aspire to as well. We're not allowed to do it very often, but I love total disguise and true romance and stuff. We're in Los Angeles, and people talk about acting here a lot, and there's misconceptions, I think, because there's lots of different types of acting. There are some people who come to this town, they walk into a room, and they just light the room up. They just have something, and the rest of the town goes, let's put that on screen. And if those people can be truthful in the moment on screen, you can't say that's not good acting. It's great acting, you know. They feel like they're emotionally present in the scene. But I'm from England, and there is a European and maybe an East Coast theatrical tradition where over and above that, which is acting by itself, you admire chameleon qualities, the ability to develop a different walk and a different voice and a whole different rhythm. And so I look at someone like Gary, my generation, and we, you know, how different he was, Sid Vicious from Joe Orton to Dracula to The Contender to, you know, Hannibal to even the very commercial things like The Fifth Element. He just found state of grace. He found a way to move, talk, think differently. These characters didn't look like they belonged in the same street. So De Niro, for instance, who's another actor that people worship, for all that, Jake LaMotta is very different from the character in King of Comedy and Taxi Driver. They're all Italian Americans who could have grown up in the same block. They could actually have grown up in the same block. Gary's characters didn't grow up in the same universe. So I admire that about him, and you know, I saw a lot of his early work. I saw him on stage as well, and he's just a master of the craft, as well as being always emotionally present and finding something emotional even in the things that don't necessarily lend themselves to it.
He was even in a Mike Leigh film really early.
Yeah, I know, he was in a Mike Leigh film, he was in an Alan Clark film. By the way, he's a brilliant director. You know, I worked
No By Mouth was amazing.
No By Mouth is a stunning film, and I worked with him. I don't know if he'll ever see this, what we're doing now, but when we worked together on Harry Potter, I begged him, as I'm sure many other people have, to direct another film. Now, No By Mouth was very personal for him, and maybe he doesn't feel like he has a personal story to tell, but even if it's impersonal, he's got a gift of storytelling behind or in front of the camera that is that's incredibly powerful and specific